Okay, so we're going to do one of the lost science and design and history tapes. So this is my friends Mike and Amy. I've known them for years. And I'm going to give them a short speech about probiotics as well as a new product that I've come up with. So we'll start first by opening a traditional high gravity probiotic. Probiotic, the idea of probiotics, you hear a lot of people talking about probiotics. And one of the main selling points is that it's a living bacteria. Your body's full of bacteria. An interesting thing about bacteria in your body is that you think about how many cells are in a human or how many cells are in a body, any organic matter. And you actually have more bacteria in your digestive system than you do cells in your body. So you're talking in the billions and billions and billions of living bacteria inside of you. So the idea of stress, and diet, and everything else in our lives, flushing these living bacteria from our intestines basically, has a lot of negative effects on our health, mainly digestive health issues. And recently, there's been a lot more notice of kombuchas on the market. Even, this is a very small town, we're in Rockton, Illinois, and even Walmart, you can go and buy kombucha at now. And I saw a woman that was buying a Bragg's drinking vinegar, which I guess is a way to make the idea of kombucha more approachable to Americans. And I asked her in line, I was like, so you like kombucha? Because I was going to offer and see if she wanted to try mine. And she had no idea what I was talking about, yet she was buying it under a different name. So that's when I realized that what I've been making for years is something that people don't really realize how healthful it really is. So on this side are the traditional ones that I've made for years. You've had before the wines and the ciders that I've always made. I've never filtered. They're always a mixture of environmental yeasts, which is the yeast that's in the environment, as well as other bought yeasts, and no phosphates, nothing else. And they're always non-filtered, and they're always stopped at a percentage that won't kill the living yeast cultures. So whenever you drink any of the wines or ciders that I've made, they're technically living ciders and living wines, therefore probiotic. Pro meaning for, or living, or biotic is living, so pro is for, biotic living means it's alive. So these are all the traditional non-modified ciders. The first one we have, I believe, is the organic apple that I made this year from the apple tree. And having drank kombucha myself for a long time, after I stopped looking at what I made as a cider or as a adult beverage and started thinking of it more as being a probiotic, I thought that there would be a niche for not only something that was probiotic, but also an adult beverage. I drink kombuchas. There are brands I like more than others and flavors I like more than others, but the idea of a kombucha product that has all the benefits of drinking a kombucha and something that I really enjoy drinking is just a good idea. So first let's try this one. This is the organic apple, and like I said, these are just the full fermented product. It's cloudy. That is the yeast since it's not filtered. And again, the idea is that the fermentation of the fruits, the sugars, the yeast, and then also the environmental yeast is what's building up the different cultures of bacteria. It's one of the reasons, if you look throughout history, probiotics themselves haven't been an issue. A lot is to be said with our own FDA, our own food system, and the way that mechanism and industrialization happened in our country. As we expanded and people became farther removed from their food systems, we had to stabilize foods more. But when you go back and not even very far in agricultural terms, within our lifetimes, even my lifetime, I grew up on a farm, and I remember getting non-pasteurized milk, non-pasteurized ciders, non-pasteurized juices, and at that point, everything has basic sugars and environmental yeasts. So not far back in our history, we were eating products that had this happening in a small quantity in so many of the different things we ate. The breads that were baked were coming to us straight from the baker that was still covered with living yeasts. Juices were fermenting in the stores before we bought them. Cheeses and milks were fermenting the minute they were out of the cow. And with pasteurization, we're not allowed to sell a lot of living products under the FDA law. So any benefits that you reap from having a living bacteria, and a lot of things that are even sold as having the yeast in it still, it's still undergone a pasteurization, which kills any of the probiotic, because probiotic means that it's alive. If you can't sell living food, you kind of see how then after years and years and years, society slowly starts to change, and digestive issues are one of the things that are very, very big and on people's minds right now.
So why do you think, since this has been around with the probiotics for goes way back in history, like why do you think it's so coming out in the media and everything so much now than way back?
It's interesting, and I think if you look at the idea of Alexandria, when the library in Alexandria burned, much of the knowledge from the Romantic world was lost. Rome, Egypt, tons of knowledge. And it plummeted Europe into the Dark Ages, where science and learning through the Renaissance up to the medical breakthroughs has been seen as a fixed approach. You can see a good comparison would be in the way we look at our cars. I too. We drive our cars so we hear them squeak, and then we go and we fix them, we pay money, they're fixed and they're fine. And a lot of medical science is based on the same philosophy. When it stops working, you fix the problem and you continue on. And there's a lot of overshadowing of the whole prevention aspect. And you hear prevention talked about a lot, physicians, educators, and there's a great deal of prevention being spoken, but you don't see much prevention in action. So to tell people that, well, you need this probiotic because you're broken, you don't digest right, you're not regular, you have all these, you're tired at the end of the day, all these different things are results of something broken that they're then trying to fix. So they're giving you massive doses and daily pills, and even some of the kombuchas that advertise being such an insane numbers that are in a chalky pill that are combinations of different, they want to brag about how many different strains of bacteria, when environmental yeast bacteria is one of the more effective because it's from the environment. So the idea of being exposed to all of these bacteria and then brewing this for people that are living in this community, that's what creates a herd strength. We use hand sanitizer too much, we don't eat local foods, we don't eat foods that are living, and you add to that eating processed foods that destroy tissue, that destroy our insides. With our modern lives and stress, people are stressed over everything, business and everything else, causes ulcers, it raises the acid level in your stomach, and you're already lacking in bacteria, and all the stress factors make it so much worse. So I think that it's becoming like a hidden knowledge that's being realized that it's been here all the time, and our medical profession doesn't understand that it's not a matter of wait until you are not regular. It's a matter of constantly eating things that are alive, because when you're eating the living things, you have a living system. This is a regular apple, so it's not the organic apple, it's just from the concentrate.
Smells stronger.
The full fermented ones, you can range between, I usually range them between 5 and 10 or 11. The active yeast cultures, they begin to die usually like around 16 or 17%. So as long as you're maintaining the acid and alcohol level below 16, it is just as probiotic. Not only that, but the harsher the environment that the yeast is cultured in, the hardier the strains are, and the easier they have, or a higher survivability rate they have once you ingest them. So let's actually, we've tried enough of these. You know, you've had them. It's basically my grandpa's old recipes. Just he never knew he was making probiotic anything, and they're still a little bit hard to approach. So this is what I came up with, and these I hope will allow people that don't normally either have a taste for a higher alcohol or a fresher wine or cider, but like wine coolers or fruit martini type things, and it has all the probiotic benefits that the full ones do. The probiotics are obviously at a lower level, but they're still in hundreds of millions of bacteria per unit. And I think that for people that have active lifestyles that don't want to make something like this part of their ritual, or the pills, or other things, I believe that these are good because they're both going to provide the living bacteria for someone who already perhaps drinks, and people who drink hard drinks. And I mean, that again is playing complete havoc in your digestive system. So for someone who already drinks, or someone who's a casual drinker, when you know medical literature says that some alcohol, that keeps your blood thin, they recommend drinking red wine. And I've seen recent studies where it's not just red wine. Red wine has a lot of tannins that are good, but the consumption of alcohol on a daily basis in a small amount is recommended for health. So if you were to combine that alcohol also with probiotics and then other botanicals, I think that it would benefit in the way that people enjoy their lives, because I think they're truly delicious, but they're also truly living products. So let's try it. This one is a fruit punch.
Now, Dave,
I'm sorry, sir.
got a question.
Yes.
Why can't I just go and buy yogurt? Because they say the probiotics in yogurt.
Yogurt is probiotic, lactobacilla, and when you read your labels on your probiotic solutions, a lot of the cultures that are derived and grown in lactic acids, cheeses and yogurts for instance, they're active and they're just as good as any other probiotic. However, as far as digestion, the bacteria that is grown in alcohol is far more survivable in your intestines. When you're eating a yogurt, cheeses that are living still, you're digesting, because of this acid in your stomach, a good portion, sometimes up to 2/3 or more of the bacteria is being killed in digestion, and it will do you no good until it's in your intestines. So once it's into your intestines is where it will take root and then reflourish the colonies in your intestines. So don't eat yogurt. I didn't say that. Yogurt, it's another culture, it's another strain, and it will only benefit. However, I think that per unit, as far as replenishing the stock in your intestines, an acid-raised one is superior to a lactic acid-raised one. And then on top of that, these were all raised not only in an acid kombucha type environment, but a high gravity, meaning high alcohol environment. So they're far more hardy than even the average kombucha bacteria, because they're being raised also in high alcohol environments. So eat yogurt. I don't say not to eat yogurt, but I think that drinking these, you might not want to eat yogurt.
Benefit a lot more.
Now it's a fruit punch cooler.
That's really good.
this one. Oh, this is a new one. Just came. I just bottled this one today. It was a new idea, and it is basically an offshoot of the traditional regular apple full product, but it was done in the cooler style with cinnamon stick. So you would think cinnamon, but I think you'll enjoy it because it's not. It's subtle. It's one of Sarah's favorites.
That was good.
Wow. It's just really mild. Like,
These range between 3 and 5% alcohol, so it's about like drinking a beer. And even though you're drinking about a beer worth of alcohol, you're also getting, like I said, in probably the hundreds of millions of living bacteria. So I have my father and other people I have given a week supply, and people that drink, a cocktail every day, and had them drink one every day, and not one person has not asked for more. So it makes me feel awesome. There's a couple more to try. This is the pineapple orange.
that's good.
Yeah. I'm not gonna force more on you.
That was good.
This is just the regular, then plain apple.
How many flavors do you
Spritzer.
have right now?
Right now, we're looking at about 7 or 8. I'm starting a huge batch tonight with a bunch of goji berries, so I'm going to start putting some goji antioxidants. I was also thinking about infusing actual tincture as opposed to some of the different varieties, not so much the traditional ones, but some of these I was thinking maybe we could mix up not only flavors but also herbs and other properties like that. So it's very exciting, and there's a lot of different stuff you could do with it, as well as other probiotic items like probiotic salad dressings, because everybody knows you make a good beer or a good wine salad dressing, why not make it with living wine? Jams and jellies, a lot of the products that we eat every day, right down to jellos that you're gonna use. You can make a lot of our foods probiotic, and we can buy more probiotic food by shopping local, insisting on any time that you have a chance to voice to anybody in any kind of political stature that small farming and agriculturally sound raising and production of products is what our country was made for.
Right. Does one of these bottles contain, if you were just to have one of these a day?
One a day. I'm going to leave you with a week supply, and you will drink one a day, and I will come back and you can tell me exactly how it makes you feel.
Okay.
I'm not
Because
trying
I do
to
have
pull.
digestive issues as far as irregularity, so
It-
it would be interesting to find out if this.
I'm confident. I'm confident it will make you feel better. I know it will.
Okay.
Good stuff.